This week, oh my God, my dog. I'm sorry if you hear him. Uh,
I'm telling you, our dogs are going to make an appearance in every
they're the
episode.
mascots of our podcast. So, hey
Hi,
Pete.
Missy.
Hey Paula. Welcome back. This is our third episode of Let's Talk Happily Ever After. This week, my shirt is giving a hint to what we are talking about.
It's so good. I didn't know you bought this shirt just, but it makes perfect sense. And all of our listeners who hopefully who either have already watched the movie or are going to watch the movie will soon get it.
Yeah, so we decided because it's March, we were gonna split this episode into two movies, one focusing on baseball, which is Fever Pitch, and then our second half of this episode will focus on Just Right, focusing on basketball romance, considering March Madness is going on. So let's hear it for the sports girlies.
I will say though that both of the movies I think were so good for any gender or any way that you identify.
1000%. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I wrote this down. I think Fever Pitch is the best, perfect amount of rom-com.
I'm not going to debate that. I really agree
Like
with
I was
every.
watching this movie and I was just, wow. Okay, wait. First, like we need to introduce it and everything. I'm so sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Okay. So, successful career woman Drew Barrymore falls for a charming teacher, Jimmy Fallon, but his intense obsession with the Boston Red Sox threatens to derail their relationship, especially as the team makes their historic run for the World Series. This came out on April 8th, 2005, and obviously, as I mentioned, stars Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon. And it got a 66% Rotten Tomatoes score, which I'm coming at you people because, like I said, I thought this was the best rom-com with the best amount of rom-com. But what else can you expect when you have a literal comedian as the main character?
Yeah, that score. I do want to know what the average Rotten Tomatoes score for rom-coms is, though, because 66% is pretty high for, I think, a rom-com. Because the
Okay,
percentages I've seen have been much lower.
okay. No, no. You know what? I will. You know what? Reverse that. Let's go back. I give I now that you put it into like some context, I agree. I think 66 is good. I just love this movie so much. Like
It
it's
was
just
so
such
good.
a feel-good movie. Jimmy and Drew's characters, not even their actor and actress chemistry is just on point. Like I honestly can tell you there isn't anything I would change about this movie.
When was the first time you watched this movie, Missy?
I want to say probably like in high school.
Okay, okay.
I remember because I don't know if you remember the store LF. Do you remember the store LF? It's like this super popular store that you could get things from, and like they only had like a couple locations, but you could get like vintage clothes from there. And
Oh.
so I remember I went online after watching this movie and bought this shirt because I want to feel passionate about something, and I'm a Red Sox fan, and so I bought this shirt, and now it's one of my favorite shirts.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting that you say that because I think that his character was just the right amount of passion in it, but also you could tell that it was something that Drew eventually her character didn't love, obviously, because having a guy who's so passionate about something else rather than you and your future can be a turnoff. But I also think that, like you mentioned, his passion for this thing was actually very, in a way, charming.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would want my significant other to be looking at the calendar when I have other things planned
Yeah.
just to see if it falls with a team. Okay, okay. So for each movie that we review, we also want to review and rate the meet cute moment.
Mhm.
So after our synopsis character list, thank you, Missy. How do you rate the meet cute moment in the movie?
I mean, I just loved everything about this movie. It was just so perfect. The timing, like, oh, he's a teacher. He's bringing them on a field trip. It just made so much sense. So I have to give it like an eight
Okay,
from a
okay.
good
Okay. You're gonna give it
eight
an
out of
eight.
10.
Okay,
Eight out of
okay.
10, yeah.
I agree. I think that it was very realistic. So I think if we have an area that we're grading and just how realistic it is, definitely realistic because he was, like you said, a teacher bringing in his students to a professional person's day in the life.
Mhm.
And I think that it was cute. I think the only thing is that he didn't he go back to her after the kids were like, "You're definitely not gonna have a shot with her." And
Yeah.
then I do think that I have a shot with her, and then goes back. So I think I gave it like a seven, 7.5.
Okay. Hey, we're pretty on par together. I agree. I think we're good.
But I think her character was so, this is something I wrote down, is I liked how Drew Barrymore's character was more above than Jimmy Fallon's character in terms of status. And I
So
liked
like
that
more successful.
female, yeah, like power dynamic. And I liked how she had a very strong background and everything, and that this movie gave that to her. And he was a teacher, very humble. And I think that was also really perfect and real. Just nice to see rather than it's always the guy who's the Prince Charming,
Yeah.
who's the richest guy who swoops in and saves the girl, like Pretty Woman. So I like
Yeah.
that.
I think it was a great dynamic for the the movie in general, like the whole thing. I think in a different setting, I don't think it would have honestly worked because she is this career woman and he has had this obsession since he was a kid. And honestly, I think him being a teacher makes so much sense. Like I think if he was in a different kind of career, it maybe would not have made sense. But what I didn't like is how, and maybe this was because of the time that it was filmed, the girl his her friend group was so judgmental of him being a school teacher. Since when did being a school teacher become like a bad thing? I mean, trust me, ladies, I'm dating right now, and if you say that you're more than a DoorDash delivery driver, I mean, check, we're good to go. I mean, he's molding young minds and he takes them on a freaking awesome field trip. I thought that was really shitty of that plot, that like subplot throughout the whole thing, but maybe it was to emphasize the clear power dynamic between the two of them because she's so up here and he's kind of down here as far as success wise, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Wait, I literally was going to ask you something about the friend group and how they thought of him in a similar way. I was going to ask you if you think that there was something wrong with the fact that they thought that he was too perfect. Because you
Yeah.
know how there was that scene where her friend, there's something wrong with him. He
Yeah.
definitely has some skeletons in his closet. Why does there always have to be something wrong with someone if you think that it's always clicking? Like, do we do that? Do we think that in real life?
Oh, 1,000%. I'm totally 1,000%. But I don't like the way it was done in
Yeah,
this
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Actually, you know what? I feel like the other two friends were very supportive. It was the one blonde friend that wasn't supportive.
Yes, yes, which whoever watches the movie will see that she's a very strong character.
Yeah, and I didn't like that how she kept attacking and attacking, couldn't just let her friend be happy. Whereas the other ones were like, maybe it's something like this, maybe it's this. You'll find out in time. Like that's supportive, okay, let's try and we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Not like, okay, what's the red flag? Let's wait for it, to come.
Yeah,
So I really appreciated the dynamic of the friend group and how they had the two that really balanced out this obnoxious blonde.
yes, yes. And I know it's just if we're gonna still talk about the friend group, I know that in the last episode I talked about how I don't want diversity just because I don't want diversity in a movie just because they want to be inclusive and just check that off of the box. But I think that this movie could have had some more diversity. I don't know if it was because of the whole Boston scene, and I get that, Boston at that time probably is very s- Caucasian heavy, etc. But I think that there could have been more diversity in the film without it being like we're just having diversity just to have it. But I think that this was a film where it could have had more.
I agree. I agree with that. I will say though, his friend group was much more diverse than hers.
Yeah.
I mean, and I loved that the token Indian friend that he had in the group wasn't the doctor. It was just this regular white guy who was the doctor. So I appreciated that.
I agree with that. I was just gonna say, do we want to go through the scenes that we really liked in the movie that you like stand out to you if anybody is going to watch this movie,
Yeah.
the scene?
Okay, so these go with what I'm gonna say. So I think for me, I think Drew gave, or sorry, Lindsay, let's call her by her character's name. Lindsay gave Ben so many more chances than I personally would have given as a lady.
Wait, really?
And I would love to hear feedback from our audience about this because And in true baseball fashion, this goes with my favorite scenes as well. Okay, first strike, being at dinner with the family, and you have to get up and cover his ears because his hands are covered in butter, and
Oh,
he's like, ah, I can't listen to the Red Sox. Like, okay, childish. Okay, but then the next day, he kind of knew he messed up and took the parents out for golf. So, okay, he tried to make up for it. Strike one, though.
yeah,
Strike two, the laptop at the game scene, which I'm sure we'll talk about. That was such an iconic scene. But
yeah,
after, when she gets hit in the head with the baseball, he's high-fiving and like doesn't even go to talk to, like, pay attention to her. He's not like, oh my God, are you okay? He's still like, oh my God, what just happened? This guy caught this ball. Like, this is great. And even afterwards, he's like, yeah, babe, you're on TV. Like, look how cool this is. Like, he's not accepting, like, wow, maybe I should have been a little bit more of a tentative boyfriend.
yeah, yeah.
So
Do you
that
think
was
that was like a stylistic thing from the directors in terms of a comedy aspect of the movie?
true. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Yeah. Strike three was when she's like, "Let's go to Paris," and he's like, "That they're playing. I can't go to Paris." Like, and she says, "When your girlfriend asks you to go to Paris, you say yes. You don't look at the Boston Red Sox schedule." So for me, I would have been out after that. I would not have. And to be fair, that was the point in, I think, the movie where their relationship starts. She started to realize, okay, he's always going to prioritize the Red Sox over me. And so I think when she started to realize, I started to realize, whereas I would have maybe a little bit earlier on been like, come on, this is getting a little ridiculous here. But I think the laptop baseball scene is hilarious. That is probably one of my favorite scenes of all time in this movie. But yeah, that's a standout to me. And like I said, those three strike scenes, I think all encompassing together really sell like why he is so not the best candidate for a boyfriend because he's still in this obsessive boy phase of the Red Sox and not growing up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So those are kind of your critical points. What is one scene where you made it, this is okay, this is a really good movie?
You have to have one.
I definitely have one. I
Okay, can
think
you give me yours because I feel like I did. I have so much from this movie that's gonna give me. I want to hear what yours is.
I think mine is the fact that just throughout the movie that they have kids in the movie that make it such a good, wholesome kind of, they give a wholesome vibe to the entire movie, just made it even more of a kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It just made it more of a feel good movie to me. The fact that there were kids that all had these really comic moments. I mean, in the
Mhm.
beginning, when he takes his kids to see her in her office, and they literally say, "Oh, you speak my language," because Drew Barrymore is talking about the math, and this one
Yeah,
kid's like, "Oh my gosh, you're speaking my language." And then I definitely think that the scene where Jimmy Fallon is debating whether or not the Red Sox is actually that important, and the kid goes, "Well, what did the Red Sox ever give back to you, Jimmy?" And that was probably one of my favorite scenes because I love
same.
the fact that they made a kid who this was
A
definitely a
14-year-old kid.
style.
Sorry.
Yeah, like this was definitely the director's stylistic choice to say, okay, the kid's gonna have this groundbreaking moment for Jimmy Fallon to get it. And it also kind of, I think, not to get too far into it, but I do think that it makes sense that a kid is speaking at Jimmy's level for Jimmy to kind of get it and say, okay, this is really childish. If a kid can see it, then yeah, I definitely can see it. And then the last, I think, so those two things will really stand out in terms of the kid scenes. But I also think that in general, the fact that they have so much of this Jimmy caring for her, especially in the beginning when he cares for her when she's sick. And, he says, if you're just trying to play sick to get out of this date, I thought that was so unrealistic. I don't think a guy would go to that extent on a first date. I think he would literally just say, screw her. She's probably playing me and not going to check in and go to that extent to clean the whole bathroom.
And then brush the dog's teeth too.
Yeah.
And she
And
and he took care of her, like checked
yeah,
in on
yeah.
her, like gave her Gatorade, was like, here's the puke basket in case you need it, and slept over that night. Like he went above and beyond, and I really give him credit, but I think that goes to show And I think it was strategic on the producers and directors to show that this is a different kind of guy than Lindsay's ever dated. He's very caring and is willing to go that extra mile for her, unlike the corporate, maybe jackasses that she usually goes to.
Yes, yes, yes.
Also, love that he brought flowers. I have never been on a date where a guy has brought me flowers on the first date. So let's try and bring that back.
Oh my gosh, no, if you've never experienced that, Missy, we need to bring that back. But yeah, I don't know about first date, but I've definitely gotten flowers before.
I've gotten flowers before, but like on the first date, I thought it was just so chivalrous of him to bring her flowers. It just shows he's such a wholesome, good person. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. I will say that going back to the realistic part of the movie that I really like, you know, when she's like, "Oh, this is my favorite movie," and then I thought he was going to say, "This is my favorite movie too," and that I thought that would have been way too cheesy, but he was like, "No, I," and then he pulls out like a different movie. I was like, "Okay, yes, this." I like the fact that they didn't make it cheesy.
Yeah, they knew the right amount of cheese and not cheese. I know we have only a little bit left. I just wanted to say one last thing about Fever Pitch in this movie, which I actually had to look up when I was looking up the synopsis for this movie. I mean, obviously I could have given a synopsis, but I wanted to give the formal one. This movie was actually in production the same time that the Red Sox were going after the World Series. So everything was timed up in real life. And when they did actually go to the World Series, that was Drew and Jimmy's character at the World Series. So like the constant voiceover that you hear of Al saying like, oh, and then this happened and then this happened. It was all actually in real time with the Red Sox season, which I just thought was like such a cute little bow that made this whole movie so perfect. How it was following this real, you know, season, and it was just, it felt really good to watch, and I really enjoyed that and loved that it all came full circle as a package.
Oh my gosh. I love that. I don't
But
even
that's
follow
me.
sports
I'm like
that
a
much.
nerd like that. You know this by now. I feel like after 3 episodes, like I go in and like research these weird facts and things about these movies. So that was my little fun fact.
No, I think we need more of these. I love it. The last thing I will ask you that I was kind of confused about was, you know, when Jimmy, his character is trying, his saying is it just met Drew Barrymore's friend's husbands for the first time, and the friend's husband, do you like my wife? Like, do you think my wife is pretty? And then was that because he was offering his wife
So
for,
it goes into the whole thing leading up to how they're quizzing her about there's something wrong with him, there's something wrong with him. And he's telling them that he has these great season tickets right behind the dugout. And the guy's like, so you like my wife? Do you think she's hot? Like, as this like trying to insinuate, I would trade my wife for your tickets.
yeah, which I
Which
thought
at
like,
the end, he ends up not giving up his wife. He does a whole contract with him, and he's such a douchebag at the end of this at the end. But like anyway, that's so not for this right now.
yeah, that was definitely the calm side of the rom-com. But okay, so we've talked baseball. Now we're gonna take it back to basketball.
Yes.
And then, well, now we're gonna switch to basketball.
Yeah.
But do you want me to read the synopsis and the character list?
Yeah. I just want to quickly say I had never seen this movie before. So this was my first time watching this movie, whereas most of the movies we've done so far, both Paula and I have seen. So this is my fresh, raw take of the movie. So with that, go ahead, Paula.
Okay, well, just so I can give you a heads up that my first question to you after I say the plot and the character list is definitely going to be what is your reaction? Because I can't wait. Okay, so the plot. Physical therapist Leslie Wright, who is Queen Latifah, lands the dream job of working with basketball superstar Scott McKnight, who's common, and all goes well until Leslie finds that she's falling in love with him. Scott, however, is oblivious to Leslie's romantic overtures and focuses his attention on Morgan, who is Paula Patton, and Leslie's gorgeous friend, who would love to be the basketball player's trophy wife. And so basically it's just I love it because it's filmed in New York. And of course, again, the characters are Queen Latifah, Common, and Paula Patton are the main, as well as the guy from Grey's Anatomy, Dr. Weber, who I know him as. And it was released on May 14th, 2010, and had a 47% review on Rotten Tomatoes, which I am so surprised by.
Yeah.
I'm so surprised by because I thought that this movie had a little bit of everything. Yes, it had its very cheesy moments. I was surprised by the very low 47% review on Rotten Tomatoes. But before I even get into it, Missy, because this is the first time you watched this movie, what were your thoughts?
I found it very predictable.
Okay,
Not that
okay.
not that all rom-coms aren't predictable. Like obviously, there's going to be happily ever after, but I just knew what was going to happen every step of the way. Like I predicted it. Like when it turned out that, she was a physical therapist, oh, he's going to get injured, she's going to train him, the sister's going to bring him in. I didn't realize how quickly the sister was going to fall and the engagement and all that was going to happen. Um, but I did really enjoy this movie. I thought it was really great and I loved that Queen Latifah, who is this underdog character, got to really shine.
Hmm.
As far as her character goes, I think she's a phenomenal actress. I will say, at the time when this movie came out, they were the New Jersey Nets, not the New York Nets.
For
As
sure.
a Jersey girl, I have to stick up for Jersey, and this was they were the New Jersey Nets at the time, and they played at the Izod Center, which no longer exists. So it just goes to show you like the time, and also Queen Latifah grew up in Newark, New Jersey, where the movie took most of the movie took place. So big Jersey movie, which I loved seeing and loved being around and like loved seeing that. I mean, yes, it was mainly filmed in New York. Obviously, all the scenes with him and her at his condo or townhouse, but the other scenes were mainly filmed in Jersey, and I really loved it. And the fact that I got to see Richard Webber in a different light, which I know his name is not Richard Webber in real life, but like seeing him as a different character besides a doctor, but still in a fatherly role was icing on the cake. I really did enjoy this movie. I had one huge qualm about this movie, but we can get to that later.
No, no, I want to know what your qualm is because I also have a qualm. But what's your qualm?
I wonder if our qualm is the same.
I don't know if it. What's your qualm?
My qualm is the behind the secret door that Common had in his apartment. And he ended up being a musician, which obviously it's Common. That was his secret talent that he liked to play piano and he was so good at, piano and all that. I thought the soundtrack for this movie was way all over the place and chaotic. I think some moments had really great musical choices in the background, whereas other ones I did not agree with. Like, for example, the scene where, spoiler alert, her, Queen Latifah and Common finally get together. It should have been this beautiful jazz piano melody, like in the scene after it. Instead, it was this weird song that just didn't fit the mood for me. And so that really threw me off because I'm a big music moment person. Like I mentioned in our Bridget Jones episode, like that soundtrack was so great. So that was just some qualm I had with this movie because I feel like everything else was pretty, you know, I really don't have any other complaints about the movie to be quite honest, just that it was kind of predictable, but the big thing I really hated was the soundtrack and the music choices.
Wait, now that you say that, subconsciously, I think I had moments where I just said, this does not fit. But
Mhm.
so, a little bit about me. I used to be an intern for BBC News, and I got to work with a podcast producer there. And she told me about kind of the art of editing podcasts and how important the music and the ambiance and all the noises are for making a podcast. And basically, my takeaway from just observing her work was that it's so hard to get the sound effects and everything right, and we take for granted as consumers
Mhm.
when everything does fall really well together.
Yeah.
And so I think that you not noticing this was definitely a big message, I think, to everyone who watches movies, that like it is really noticeable sometimes when you have your ears open for it. And I agree. I think Bridget Jones' Diary, all the music really just fit really well with the scenes. And so I agree. Okay, great. So my qualm, after
Yeah.
having watched this movie probably 3 or 4 or 5 times, was I don't like how Common's character goes back to Paula Patton's character, Morgan, so quickly.
Oh, I expected that. I knew that was going to happen. It was just typical rom-com like
I
plot.
I I mean, I expected it too, but I think it was just, I don't know. This is the same qualm that I had in the Bridget Jones Diary movie, where I just don't like how the girls just let the guys in these movies get off so easily, even in Fever Pitch.
Wait, it's funny that you say that because I wrote my biggest qualm too, was at the end of the movie when he comes to finally, realize he wants Queen Latifah's character. She's just like, yeah, let me call the Nets and take up their offer. Like, she's not like, you want to fight for me. Like, she's just like, sure, yeah, you show up in your nice car, nice dress suit, and I'm just going to take you back because you said I love you. Like, girl, this man needs to fight for you. So I think this is definitely a bigger conversation that we can talk about on like maybe another episode. This whole idea of like, why are women or female characters just so, you know, instant like, yeah, I'll take you back. No worries. It's not like you just broke my heart or chose my sister or my brother or whatever over me and cheated on me or something, but it's okay. I love you forever. Happily ever after. Cue music.
Yeah, okay, I want to find a doctor. I want to find somebody who has studied this for that episode because I do think it is a noticeable theme and I'm not here for it.
Yes,
Okay,
I agree. I
I
want to
will say
say Morgan's character, the sister, not the sister, the best friend, cringe, but she played it so well because I
though.
hated her character so much and I wanted to literally like squeeze her neck but she played the wannabe trophy wife so well.
So well. And there is something, at least for me, just I find those kinds of women who are so confident, who do everything the way that her character did, just because they make you so angry, but because they're so good at what they do, I'm almost impressed.
Yes, I was very impressed. I also really appreciated that when she realized at the end that he was supposed to be with her, the best friend, Leslie, she wasn't like trying to fight it. She's like, I know where she is. Here, I know this is where she's supposed to go. This is where you
Yeah.
need to go. She was like, I get it. This is not for me. I thought it was really funny how this movie was in 2010, and I feel like we still see women who are like, I feel like being a wag is such a big thing now. Like we have that TV show Wags and like, Brittany Mahomes or, some of these other, girlfriends or boyfriends, not boyfriends, sorry, girlfriends in the or wives in the NFL or NHL or whatever. We see these whole wags and girlfriends and it's like this illustrious lifestyle. And you just see how, Leslie's character just genuinely loves basketball and really followed this guy's career. And he was just so genuine. It makes you question, not saying that Brittany Mahomes and Patrick Mahomes aren't like perfect couple in love and she supports him because clearly she did. They went to high school together, college, but it just shows you like what level of a wag is really just for the attention.
You just reminded me that in all the movies that we've kind of reviewed so far, though, I do in a future episode want to talk through how these women how a big part of the movie are these women's jobs and how they really are career driven women. But I do think in the 6 minutes that we have left, I definitely want to rate the meet cute moment, see how realistic it is, what your thoughts about the meet cute moment was, because that's definitely going to be a recurring thing on this show. And
Totally.
then I do want to talk about the family aspect because I do think that this movie had a lot of concentration on the family. So for me, the meet cute moment where Common is this basketball player and he doesn't know how to work the gas part of his car, the whatever. And then Queen Latifah's character happens to be at the same gas station. I don't think it's super realistic in terms of Common's character, who's such a big NBA basketball player, to go. But I do think that the helping somebody out because he doesn't know how to work something is definitely realistic. Like if you're in an elevator with someone and it happens all the time where some people don't know that nowadays hotels make you swipe the card
Yeah,
before you
I know
press
what
it
you're
up.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, like I get that part is realistic, but the meet cute was not.
I agree 1,000%. It was 100% unrealistic. In fact, when I was watching this, I was like, this is what my goal would be after a post Devils game to see Jack Hughes like filling up his car at the gas station. But like in reality, Jack Hughes probably has a driver or is taking an Uber. He ain't filling up his own gas tank. And in New Jersey, nobody pumps their own gas, first of all. Like that is a wide national, this has been around since 2010. New Jersey is one of the states where we do not pump our own gas. So that was so unrealistic on this movie's part. Sorry, I'm getting really heated and very Jersey right now, but that really bothered me.
No, we need to do more Jersey movies so that Missy can tell it how it is.
I'm
Okay,
sorry, especially Queen Latifah being from Jersey. Come on, girlfriend. You had some producer rights in there. You could have
maybe they're
asserted
trying to
some
like
Jersey
make it
there.
relatable with the rest of the world, but I completely agree.
So unrealistic, but I do think, like you said, the moment of something accidentally happening or not knowing how to do something is real. I just, like you said, that situation wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, okay, I'm
Okay,
listening.
we have 3 minutes left, and I want to talk about family because I want to start with Dr. Webber's character. I love this dude in this movie. He's just his daughter's number one fan, and I
Yeah.
love that.
Can I tell you one thing that really made me cringe this entire movie and has to go with this?
Yeah.
Every time she calls him daddy.
Oh, yeah.
Like I literally like this was my let's take a shot moment. Every time she says daddy in the movie, I wanted to like I was cringing, but yes, their relationship is so cute and I love it, which leads me to my other qualm I have about the movie. I did not like the mom. I
Yeah.
thought I first saw how she was helping what's her name get ready instead of her own daughter get ready for the party in the
Yeah.
beginning of the movie. And then the whole time she's just not supportive of her daughter. Like, because she's, maybe not this beautiful swan. She's the ugly duckling, so she doesn't deserve to get, the beautiful basketball player. And then she's sitting on the couch at the end of the movie watching Common give his interview and talking about Leslie, and she's crying. And it's like, girl, you should have noticed this from the beginning. You should have been a better supportive mother. Like,
Yeah.
that really got me. Sorry, continue.
No, yeah. I wish I think that they did this intentionally because you know how after Paula Patton's character goes to Common and says, no, 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 you go after her. There was this little 5 second window where the mom is watching the TV show with Common and he's like, sorry, I gotta go. And then she knows that he's going to go after her daughter.
Yeah,
I just wish that they would have, and I think this is the reason why I got maybe a lower review on Rotten Tomatoes, is because it's just things weren't tied as neatly as other movies that we've seen.
agree. Agree
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
But I was very confused on the dynamic in Common's family. Did he have a brother, or were those just his brothers in terms of basketball players? Because all I saw was the mom, obviously, who was very supportive.
Yeah. No, I think it was just brothers in terms of the basketball brothers.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but no,
again,
I thought,
things like we had to, as words are not coming out of my mouth today. We, as consumers, had to put things together, which I don't love doing during a movie. I love it when it's just, you get it,
yeah.
you get the whole thing.
I
Okay.
love how at the end, Leslie's sitting in the WAG section and she's still wearing her jersey and she's not dressed up like a wannabe WAG like Morgan and all the other ones. She's in her jersey and then she's like, wait, gotta go to work. And she like runs down and goes to the sidelines. I really loved that she was still true to herself. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this movie. It was a great recommendation, Paul. I totally would rewatch it again. But yeah, I think we did a good job getting two movies in once.
So we've jam-packed two movies into this episode, and I think that viewers who are interested in sports, baseball, or basketball particularly, or if you're interested in, I think, happy endings, because both of them did have happy endings, talking about happily ever after. And if you are interested in shows that are just the right amount of rom-com in Fever Pitch's case, and a movie that's just very jam-packed in terms of a diverse cast for just right, then I think that you will be able to find joy in watching either one of these two movies or both. And that's kind of my takeaway is you should definitely watch both for any one of those reasons. And I think that they are great for our sports month.
Yes, I just want to say I think they both are really great feel-good movies. So if you need a movie that makes you feel good, they're definitely there. And for a person who's not really a sports girly, especially baseball and basketball are two sports I do not understand very well, these two movies did not make me feel like, oh my God, I have no idea what's going on. Like I felt like they were really good. So I know that the sports romance genre is like going off crazy with heated rivalry and hockey, but like if you guys want to take a second to get off the ice and throw it back to basketball and baseball, we just gave you two great recommendations. So let us know if you see them and if you watch them, what you think.
Thanks.
Bye, peeps.